Hello, my name is John Teply, and today I'm having a conversation with Renita Gerard. And hello, how are you doing?
Doing great. How about you?
I'm doing great. Um, so her paintings, you can often find bold strokes of color and dug in there with uh, all kinds of instruments to create texture, but yet she's still looking for something well observed, and you'll see that where uh, uh, the paint is trying to avoid is trying to express something that is quite delicate, but yet there'll be like this great shapes and colors and strokes. So tell me, Renita, when you start a painting, what are some of your first thoughts?
Well, my first thought is I'm already attracted to it because of something emotional. Either the colors hit me or it reminds me of some place I spend a lot of time or something. So, yeah, the first thing is emotional. And the second thing is color. And then I get around to shapes. So,
Ah,
yeah. So, sometimes I have to change the shapes a little bit to like go a couple different views to make it work out right. And then because I love color so much, I have to tell myself right from the beginning what's going to be grayed out a little because otherwise everything would be bright. So
interesting. So often in your paintings, there are very dominant shapes, but that's kind of something that comes secondary.
yes, yeah. I'm looking at color and usually two colors that are interacting in some way. And then I kind of build around that. And yeah, and then I look at the shapes and are they already working? Do I need to get to a different angle? Whatever. Do I need to move a tree a little bit? Just to so that it's based on what I'm looking at. But yeah, it's pulled together a little more.
So you mentioned two colors. Does that mean that you generally think in terms of your painting of a limited palette?
Um, So a lot of times, yeah, not always. The main shapes are usually a couple colors, and then there may be a lot more little colors just kind of thrown in here and there, um, you know, and uh, sometimes because they're really there, and sometimes just because it needs that color right there. So
It needs the color. It needs the color.
yeah, so yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about brush strokes? Because often in your paintings they'll be very thick and almost sculpted in some ways. Um, uh, could you talk about how that relates to what you're trying to achieve?
Well, part of it is because I have essential tremors. So if I concentrate really hard on doing something small and, straight, etc., my hands shake. But they don't shake if I'm just, working from the shoulder and
Ah,
having fun. So that's, that definitely means, and sometimes it actually helps. Like if I'm trying to do a
sure.
stem of something and my hands are shaking, it actually gives it more personality than if I were just free to do whatever line I wanted. So it's kind of funny. Yeah.
So now, when you do say a large stroke of color, my memory of your paintings is that generally those strokes will be like one color as opposed to several colors kind of smushed together as you
Yeah.
go across.
I don't do the broken color as much as a lot of artists do. Yeah, it appeals to me in other people's paintings. I just don't seem to do it. And, uh, uh, I wanted to study art my whole life and I wasn't allowed to. And so
Ah,
I know. So although I've painted and drawn my whole life, I didn't start taking lessons until about 10 years ago. So, so I'm still learning in a lot of ways. I guess you always learn. And yeah, and my voice in my paintings changes, I think, a lot as I incorporate new things, new books, new talking to other people, whatever. So yeah.
So I'm actually looking at the work on your walls, and the ones that I am drawn towards are the ones that have water in them. Is that any
I
accident?
love water. Most of my waterfalls sold at open studios, so I need to start over with waterfalls. I just, the movement and the colors in water, just, it's always emotional for me. They're just beautiful. So
Yeah, I mean it's as difficult a subject matter as you can choose to paint.
well, I do it kind of backwards. If it's a stream or it's whatever, I paint the rocks in first, and then I just try to feel like the water and where they hit the rocks and go around. So yeah, crazy.
Which I think there's one up there between some flowers. It looks like it's about 10 by 12,
It's 11 by 14.
11 by 14. Is it possible for you to take that down by the wall so that we could look at it?
Sure. This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this is from the gorge. Yeah. And there's a lot of the fall leaves falling down around the falls and just coming down. In that case, the water was moving so fast, there wasn't much color, but just a lot of energy. So.
And I think you captured that, that energy. Is that something, like I'm drawn towards your water paintings, and there's a different kind of energy in water flowing than say the still lifes.
Yeah, this one right behind me, the larger one.
Yes.
On a hike, and I turned around just as it was cloudy, just as the sun swept across it and went away. And I didn't have time to get a picture or anything. So that's all from memory. But just the pockets of the yellow and the blue and would seem to be all separated in the water. And so, yeah.
So now on your board there, you have a like a color chart.
Yes.
Now, is that a general color chart or is that for a particular painting?
No, well, it was mixing the grays in out of a book, Oil Painting, the Workshop Experience. And I'm kind of still playing with the 4 grays and how they mix with other colors. So it helps me to have the chart up there.
Good, good, yeah.
Yeah, it's just some real new colors I hadn't discovered. And I particularly like the lavender gray. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah. So.
And I see your painting kit back there. Is that how you you do like when you go plein air painting? You just carry it with you?
Well, no, I actually have a thing that you pull to go to the grocery store.
Much easier.
Supplies, yeah. And I'm just now looking at getting a nicer easel that has my paints in front of me, because now I lay my palette on the grocery cart and I keep turning and painting, and that's kind of hard. So it'll be nice to have my paints right in front of me and then just go up.
Now something that Renita and I have talked about several times is about developing art projects around different issues. Could you just talk about your feelings about that a bit?
Yeah, if you can see the sunflowers behind me, and they're in front of a lot of smoky skies from the fires
Oh yeah,
years ago. And I gave that one to an environmental group, and they made postcards they're going to send to electeds to talk to them about doing things about forest fires. So I'm
But
excited about that one.
now that's one issue, which I have to say, the forest fires made a beautiful backdrop for the flowers. But now you've also have dealt with other issues.
Oh yeah. I'm a member of an environmental group that are all activists, and we do both direct action and artistic action. And direct action solves an immediate problem or crisis, but over the long term, it's just a Band-Aid. For instance, for years I built affordable housing, and that was great for the family that got housing, but it didn't change people's viewpoint, obviously, by looking around at all the homeless today. So art, I mean, just think of like Mount Rushmore. Here was a sacred thing to one culture, and another culture came along and put up faces of people important to their culture and said, hi, we're here now. Cancer cult or culture of cancel, which, you know, everybody talks about now, like hasn't happened in all of history.
Yeah.
So the long-term changes systemically almost always come from art, books, movies, TV, paintings, you know, anything along those lines. That's what changes people's thoughts over the long term. So, you know, trying to find a way to incorporate my art now into causes that concern me are, you know, that's where my head is right now.
And I'm happy that you're part of the Seventh Generation Project too, you know, because that goes well with
yeah,
with you know, with what you're doing. Now you talked. I believe you said when you started painting, there's an emotional content.
yeah.
Could you talk about the emotional content? And I also think that from my view, you know, that's an important part of activism in art is you know, dealing with the emotions.
Right. So I painted two different paintings for the Seventh Generation. The first one was Nehalem Bay, where I have spent a lot of time and absolutely love. I've kayaked and seen like the elk crossing the river first thing in the morning.
Wow.
I've camped in the horse camp and ridden my horse down the beach and into the ocean, and hiked all around through there. And I, you know, and it's a very, I tried to get across in my painting how expansive and kind of calm the ocean is there. And it's just a calming place. And the sand dunes are so close to the actual beach, and they're just sculptures everywhere and paths through it. And you can sometimes see where little feet have been through. And so, you know, that's what endeared me to that one. The second one was Coos Bay, where I have not spent a whole lot of time, but the completely different thing. You're above it, you're not on the beach, and the water is just moving and pushing every which way, and the trees over the cliffs on a windy day are moving as well. And then, you know, there's usually water making some of the stones wet and some dry, and so it's all movement. So I hope I got that across, because completely different place.
So there are other intangibles, you know, like love, spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
Do those enter into your thoughts when you're working?
Not usually in a painting unless it's about that. I painted my grandson, although he took one look at it and said that's not right.
What's his age?
The time 5. So yeah. And then spirituality. I love studying about a whole bunch of different religions, but I've never found anything I thought it would explain it.
Sure.
Yeah, it just, I mean,
That could be part of
yeah,
the painting experience is
Yeah.
Just acknowledging that that there's something big.
there's something huge. And if I can't even understand the universe, how could I understand what created it? So,
Yeah.
it's just a feeling that something's there, but I have no idea what to paint it. Although I read a story once about a little girl that they asked her what she was painting, and she said, God. And they said, but nobody knows what God looks like. And she said, well, they will in a minute. So
That's very funny. I want to mention something. You were talking about your son and the portrait. There's a
grandson.
Pardon me. Grandson. Yeah. There's a story of John Singer Sargent, and he was talking about portraiture.
Uh-huh.
And he said, well, a portrait is a picture of somebody in which the smile isn't quite right. And I've always taken comfort in that, because if he had trouble with those things, us mere mortals, we have a chance maybe.
Well, not only that, but the closer you get it to the way they look, they might like it less. So
Yeah.
who knows on that one? Yeah. That's a whole different ball game there. Yeah. Portraits.
So I think we're winding down here. Is there anything that you would like to talk about before we close?
Just that when you back to the thing about what I think about when I see a blank canvas, before I get to the blank canvas, I've already done value studies. I've already decided colors. And probably tried a couple different compositions on little scraps of paper or the back of the canvas or whatever, if it's a board. Yeah. So when I turn to that blank canvas, and it's probably also already tinted, it's not a blank canvas, and it's not so scary then.
Yeah. Interesting. So half the work of doing a painting is before you actually do the painting, right?
That's right. That's what people are always saying. So how long did it take you to do that? And I want to say my whole life, but it's like, well, it was only a couple of hours, really? And you want that kind of, money for it when it took you 2 hours? Yeah. Well, how many did I fail at first?
Yeah. Well, we've been talking with Renita Gerard, and you can see her paintings. She will be exhibiting at Lincoln City Cultural Center from July 12th through 14th. And if we're lucky, she's a Portland artist. She actually may make it to Lincoln City, which would be great. And then you could
definitely, yeah.
So I'm John Teply, and this is goodbye for now.
Bye.